Good evening from Washington. I'm Laura Ingraham, and welcome to this special edition of the Ingraham Angle, Our Country, Our Culture. And on the show tonight, a new trend or a social media phenomenon. The founder of the walkaway movement is here tonight to tell us why former liberals are leaving the left behind. And is the next generation in this country actually proud to be American? We're going to show you some of the shocking responses when Raymond Arroyo joins us for Seen and Unseen. Plus, TV legend Suzanne Summers joins us for an inspiring conversation. You're going to love this, about her career from Three's Company to self-help maven. Don't miss that. But first, the casual smearing of a potential Supreme Court nominee over her Catholicism. Now, it's been just 5 days since President Trump announced his shortlist to replace Justice Anthony Kennedy on the Supreme Court, a decision he will reveal in less than a week. In the top 5 of most court watchers was a former Notre Dame professor and current appellate judge for the 7th Circuit, Amy Coney Barrett. Now, she's quickly found herself on the receiving end of most of the media fire.
She got into quite a well-publicized conversation about being a religious Catholic with Senator Dianne Feinstein. Her name is Amy Coney Barrett.
His list is all people who we have an understanding are in opposition to Roe. You know, Amy Barnett went to Notre Dame. She is very Catholic.
She's Catholic, has 7 children, and is a member of a small religious group called the People of Praise, where members swear a loyalty oath, what they call a covenant, held accountable to a personal advisor called a head for men and a handmaid for women.
Ooh, sounds so ominous. Well, it's amazing that the same people who attacked the president for applying what they called religious tests to enter the country can now so flippantly toss around questions about someone's Christianity with impunity. As David French wrote in National Review yesterday, quote, "Ignorance leads to suspicion, and suspicion leads to fear. Yet this fear cannot and must not be permitted to trump reason." Amy Coney Barrett is at the peak of her profession. She shares faith practices with millions of co-religionists. Her faith experience is their faith experience. And if progressives seek to block her from the nation's highest court because of it, they'll betray our nation's founding ideals. Joining us now to discuss is Bill Donohue, president of the Catholic League, Wall Street Journal columnist Kimberly Strassel, and former federal prosecutor Vinoo Varghese. All right, let's start with you, Vinoo. I'm watching this play out about Amy Coney Barrett, and I'm thinking to myself, the left is really at desperation point. Like, it's DEFCON 1 for them on the desperation scale. They're not going to be able to stop Trump's next nominee from being on the court. So they take these sort of glancing blows initially about her faith, and now it's, oh, she's a member of a cult. Vinoo, why is she unqualified to sit on the Supreme Court?
Well, I would first look at her record. She's only been an appellate court judge for 5 months. Before that, she was a law professor. I mean, there are no more people there are people no more in the ivory tower than law professors. So her background is thin, her record is thin. So that's the first thing. That's the thing that concerns me more than her religion. Look, her religious beliefs are fair game. I mean, if she happened to be a Muslim, you'd want to know whether she supported jihad. If she's an Orthodox Jew, you'd want to know whether she believes in sucking out blood during circumcision. These are the kind of questions that are fair game, because she seems to be outside the mainstream of Catholicism.
Well, she's not, but let me just say, she has explicitly said, and Kimberly should get in on this, she's explicitly said that religious beliefs should not be permitted to have to align with court cases. She's explicitly addressed this question, but that is not good enough for the left in this case, because I think because she's such a strong candidate, and I don't remember people like Vinoo claiming that Barack Obama didn't have enough experience to be commander-in-chief of the world's largest army, but let's put that aside. Kimberly.
Well, actually, none of those questions that were just posed, in fact, are relevant to her candidacy and her fitness for sitting on the Supreme Court. We should care about what her positions of law are. And, you know, Laura, it doesn't matter, though, who this candidate, who his pick is going to be. That list contains some of the most brilliant jurists in the country. They're thoughtful, qualified, and wise. And precisely because of that, people who do not like Donald Trump, who are very worried about what this new pick will do to the shift of the court, are not going to be talking about the Constitution or separation of powers or judicial philosophy. They're going to make this into a smear because it's going to be their best and only shot to try to stop someone, because they can't do it on the basis of arguing they're not qualified for the court.
Bill Donohue, the People of Praise, this group of Catholics who support each other, and I guess there are a couple thousand across the country. It's important to her as a mother, as a wife. It's something she's been a member of for some time, since I guess her days at Notre Dame. That specifically is being used to smear her as essentially a cultist. Your reaction?
Well, I think I know what a cult is, and this certainly is not a cult. It's a charismatic renewal group, which is a family-oriented Catholic organization. And in fact, the Pope is hardly considered a man of the right, welcomed them just last year at the Vatican. Now, look, let's remember the seminal statement by Senator Feinstein. She said, "The dogma screams loudly in you." Now, that's nativism. That's a throwback to the 19th century. That's coming awfully close to establishing a religious test. And then we have Senator Durbin. By the way, I wrote to both Durbin and Feinstein last September, asking them a series of questions about Amy Coney Barrett, because they were out of line. I mean, we had Durbin saying, well, I want to know what it means to be an Orthodox Catholic. Well, he said he went to school for 19 years in a Catholic school, and I guess he still didn't learn what the term Orthodox means. I tried to help him out. It means that somebody who accepts the teachings of the Catholic Church. That's about it.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, this smacks of an animus against someone, and I don't care whether you're Catholic, Jewish, Muslim. You want to ask people some questions about your personal convictions. You have every right to do though. But she has said so in 1998. That if you're caught as a Catholic dealing with, you're stuck between the Church's teachings on capital punishment and the legal precedent, then maybe you should opt out. She's been very, very clear that your personal conviction should not determine your judicial outcome.
Yeah, she made that comment about you're not required to align, and you can't align court dealings with the faith that you practice. And she's been extremely explicit about that. Vinoo, there was one tweet which really caught my eye, and I want to share it with you. This is from our friends at the Center for American Progress. As a judge, Barrett sided against an African-American worker in favor of a company's separate but equal arrangement, flying in the face of the Civil Rights Act of '64. Now she's up for a seat on our nation's highest court. Save SCOTUS, stop Barrett. One problem with that, Vinoo. She wasn't on the 7th Circuit when that case was heard. Obviously, she wasn't on the 3-judge panel when that case was heard. But this is how slipshod the criticism of Barrett is. And you know what I really think they're bugged by? I think a lot of these people on the left are bugged by the fact that she has 7 kids. I'm sorry. I think they find that weird. I know Bill probably agrees with me on this.
Absolutely.
I think they think people with a lot of kids are weird. I think they think they're weird. And I think that's actually, that bothers them. But go ahead.
Look, that tweet has been debunked. That's been pretty clear. So the issue really, though, is her experience. And as I've mentioned...
So did you criticize Obama when he ran for president after, like, a breath in the U.S. Senate?
Different issue. Being U.S. Senate,
it's not a different issue. It's about experience.
Sitting on
to have the highest position in government, the president of the United States.
Sitting on the Supreme Court's a different issue than running for senator, running for president. As we've known, there have been people with very little experience. JFK had very little experience when he became president.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about somebody who's going to... It's a lifetime appointment.
Right. Justice Thomas was on the D.C. Circuit for not a very long period of time. He was EEOC commissioner, his education at the Education Department. He's turned out to be, you might not like his judicial philosophy, but even Harvard had to admit in a law review article that his jurisprudence and his writing and his decisions have been incredibly impressive. He's been a force for good on the court.
Everyone sitting justices, including Neil Gorsuch, who is criticized definitely a lot, had tremendous experience with her, either as a judge or something else. Her issue, she was a law professor for most of her life.
Now law professors need not apply. First, Catholics need not apply. Law professors need not
Ivory
apply.
Tower. That's my biggest issue with her.
Okay, well, now liberals are against the Ivory Tower. I guess we're making progress.
I'm not a liberal. I also went to Catholic school my whole life, as Bill does, as we were talking about right before
here.
Can
I dare to suggest? Can I dare to suggest that this really isn't even about religion? This is the convenient way that they are going to attack Barrett because they can't attack her on the law and because there's a desperation.
There's not much to attack her on the law.
They know. Yeah, well, no, they know, unlike Gorsuch when he was appointed, he didn't really change the direction of the court. But this is step-up time. And if one of President Trump's front runners, especially if they have a good record, is seated on that court, it is going to change the direction of it for generations. So they will pull out whatever they can.
Yeah, anyone
this happens
is
to
on
be
the
the
list.
most convenient way to go against Barrett.
Yeah, Bill, I have to get one more word in. Bill, in the end, though, I feel a very strong anti-Catholic bias running through all of this, and you've seen it come up before, and I think it's running through this. Yeah, I think Kimberly's right. They want to nix all these people, but I think her Catholicism, the fact that she takes it seriously, it holds up a mirror to a lot of what's going on in the culture today, and they don't like that.
I agree with you on Kimberly. And let me be explicit. The two people I was most concerned about, Durbin and Feinstein, when Roberts was put up about 13 years ago, guess who was questioning his Catholicity? Durbin and Feinstein. Now, Durbin will say, listen, I went to Catholic schools. By the way, Feinstein went to Catholic schools herself, even though she's a Jewish gal. And I'm not saying that they're bigots. I am saying that there's something there which I think is unseemly.
Yeah,
and it's not exercised against others.
Yeah, it needs
Senator
to be
Graham asked
reoriented. Guys, we're out of time. We got to move on to Judge Napolitano, but thank you all. Fantastic segment. It isn't just Amy Barrett's comment. Amy Barrett's comments, her religiosity that seemed to be scaring our mainstream press. The LA Times recently wrote a piece titled, Judge Coney Barrett, a potential Supreme Court nominee, has defended overturning precedents. Well, as a lot of keen observers have pointed out, so has every justice who ever sat on the Supreme Court. So let's bring in Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, thanks for being with us tonight. So why do you think Barrett is suffering the brunt of the backlash over the last few days? Is it the fact she's the only woman on the